Welcome to The Dating Lab, the podcast that makes midlife dating simpler, saner, and maybe, hopefully, a little less overwhelming. I'm your host, Alyssa and each week we'll break down one real dating challenge that adults 45 plus face today. From confusing apps and unclear profiles to first date nerves and slow fade messages. And you'll walk away with at least one practical tool you can use immediately to date with more confidence, clarity, and momentum. Think of this as your bi-weekly place to experiment, learn something new, and hopefully try something new without the pressure. Hi, Leah. How are you?
Hi, good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Dating Lab. And today I have Leah Mazer on the podcast. I'm super excited to interview her. She is a certified divorce recovery coach and the founder of Mindfully Ready and co-creator of the Next Chapter membership. She specializes in helping divorced moms heal and rebuild self-esteem and co-parent with confidence. And her own experience of navigating multiple divorces fuels her passion for guiding women through recovery. So I'm so happy to have her here. And she has lots of experience to share. And as she says, she wants to tell us what not to do in dating. So welcome,
Yes,
Leah. And tell us a
thank
little
you.
bit about how you started doing what you're doing.
So, after my first divorce, I did everything you are not supposed to do. I made a lot of mistakes and wound up settling in a relationship and getting married too quickly. And so, when that marriage started to collapse, that was kind of like my ugly wake up call. That was when I realized, okay, obviously I need to figure out why I'm making the choices I'm making, why I keep getting the results I'm getting. And I realized after all of the things, journaling and therapy and mindfulness and meditation and just kind of cultivating self-awareness, that I was choosing relationships out of fear of being alone. You know, I had deep abandonment issues from losing my parents at a young age. And that was kind of the catalyst for the choices and partners that I had at that time. So when I kind of did a deep dive and figured that out and faced that head on and figured out how to stand on my own 2 feet and how to create a life that felt good for me, even outside of a romantic partnership, everything changed for me. And so then that's kind of what led me to helping other women through divorce, because through my own journey, I accumulated so many different tools and approaches and perspectives and just actionable steps that I found really helpful in my own life. And so now I just share those and support and guide other women through their own divorce journey so that they can try to avoid making some of the same mistakes that I did.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear all of that. I feel like if I could go back knowing what I know now and go back and do my divorce over again, I
Yeah.
think a lot of us feel that way. So that's why it's nice to have somebody who's been through it. And yeah, so and I'm sorry to hear about your parents. That's really,
Thank
yes,
you.
I can see why that would cause you to want to create relationships with people and have some kind of partnership and maybe rush things. That would make sense.
Yes. You know, it kind of left me in a spot where I felt like if I wasn't in a relationship, then I felt like I was kind of just floating around the planet by myself. Like I wasn't tethered to anything. I didn't know how to just stand on my own 2 feet. And so that kind of became my a serial monogamy was kind of like my life raft to keep me afloat, right? Because I needed someone. And when you're making choices based in that place, you're not going to get good results.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. And so your first marriage, how long was that marriage? And
That
did
was
you
about 5 years.
okay. And then your second marriage is when sorry, did you tell me you have children? I can't remember if you're
I
married.
have one daughter with my first
Okay.
husband. So first marriage was about 5 years, and then second marriage was about two years.
Okay. Okay.
hmm
Got it. And so I guess how did you meet your second husband? Did you meet him through online dating or
Oh
through
yeah, as
okay.
soon as I got out of my first marriage, I jumped right into another relationship, and that one didn't work out. And then being stuck in that same pattern, I was right back on the dating apps, and I went on one date with him, deleted the app. Within weeks, he moved in. And 8 months later, we were engaged. I mean, it was just
Wow.
one bad
Yeah.
decision after another, because
Right.
I didn't know how to be by myself.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, thanks for sharing all that. I think it's so helpful for people to hear that, I know I definitely did that too, just jumped into relationships just because I didn't want to be alone. And I mean, I think
Hmm.
we've all been there. And so that lasted 2 years. And then when you left that marriage, how long did it start you to start dating again? And what was that experience like?
So when I left that marriage, I still dabbled in dating, but it was just a completely different experience because I had started really working on myself, and I came to that realization from that self-reflection that I was making choices out of fear of being alone. So when I was meeting people, I just had a completely different mindset about it. Instead of me showing up on dates like, is he gonna like me? Am I saying the right thing? Am I wearing the right thing?
Hmm.
Am I the right fit for him? It was the complete opposite. It was, well, are you what I'm looking for? Do you have what
Yeah.
I need? Are you adding value to my life? It totally
Yep.
shifted that approach in
Right.
dating.
It's such a crucial mindset shift, actually. And I think a lot
Yes.
of people don't approach dating that way. And yeah, when you
Yes.
hear it, it's like
Right.
so obvious, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, that inner dialogue, right? And so I think that's really what changed things for me. And so even when I found myself in other relationships, they were at least healthy ones because I was making choices from a more empowered, grounded place and not choosing partners based out of fear of being alone.
Right, right. Okay. And then so I guess tell me about like once you started going into it more mindfully, what was your dating experience like? Did you find that you weren't meeting people? Were you not finding people anymore because you weren't kind of just jumping into something, or what, how was that experience?
No, and so this is what's kind of funny about it is I actually met an amazing man. We were together. We ended up getting married. So I had 3 marriages. We were together for about 5 years, and then we mutually came to the decision that we wanted to be friends instead of being partners.
Hmm.
And so it was the most stress-free,
Wow.
peaceful breakup that I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. And I
Yeah.
really owe all of that to all of the work that I did beforehand to choose somebody who was mindful and grounded and not toxic, and so that we could have this partnership. And then when we got to this place where we decided it wasn't the right fit, we were able to kind of just peacefully walk away and keep our friendship intact. It's
That's
been
so great.
amazing. And so I think it's important to just remember that, like, nobody's got a crystal ball in their pocket, right? Like, nobody knows what's going to happen, and we're all just doing our best every day and trying to figure things out. And
Yeah.
the most important thing to do is to keep pouring into yourself, investing in yourself, healing,
Hmm.
reflecting. You evolve when you can really look and figure out what your role is in all of this, right? Whether it
Hmm.
was your divorce or the dating, or it's like we all have a role to play. Because when we come out of relationships, it's really easy to just point the finger and go, well, they never did this and he did this and they didn't do
Hmm.
this. And I'm
Hmm.
sure all of that's valid. However, we all play a role. And so it's understanding that part of it. Like, where were you mentally and emotionally when you started that relationship?
Yeah.
What boundaries maybe were you not setting or enforcing? What red flags did you miss or ignore, right?
Hmm.
Like, what do you want to do differently next time so that you get different results? And when you do that, you might find a really great partner, and that might last a lifetime, or it might not. It might only last a few years. But when you do that work, you're not scared of things ending. And you know that no matter how a relationship pans out, you're going to be okay. You can come out of it standing on your own 2 feet because you never started it from a place of lack.
Right, right. That's so good. Yeah, I mean, dating from a place of lack is definitely not, as I tell people when they come to me and they say, I think I'm going to date now because I feel like, if I meet someone, great. If I don't, it's really okay. And I'm like,
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
That is the perfect place to be coming from when you're getting into dating, especially modern dating. So yeah, I love that. And so how old was your daughter when you divorced and throughout your next relationship?
When I divorced her dad, she was 2, I
Okay.
believe. And so she's been with me through this journey. And I'm really lucky with my third husband. It was an amazing stepdad and still is. He's still very much a part of her life, and they have their
Oh,
own relationship, and I love that so much. Her dad lives like 6 hours away, and so it's nice that she has a stable male figure in her
yeah,
life.
that's amazing.
And so that's something I'm like, that to me, I look back and I'm like, well, if that is like the prize for me out of this relationship. Like, even
Oh,
if the marriage didn't
100%.
necessarily last until I died, this was a learning experience, and I grew so much, and I was able to meet someone that can be that figure in her life, which is so
Yeah.
valuable, really,
Oh,
for her and for me.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think that's another thing too, is looking at like, when you can find those things, like, well, what did I learn? How did I grow?
Mhm.
What things can I do now that I didn't have before? Like, shifting your perspective and not just focusing on all the things that you lost or the things that didn't work or didn't go the way that you planned. Well, what did? What is working, or what went well, or
Mhm.
what, how what did you learn that then empowers you moving forward, right? Those are
Right.
all kind of ways to look at relationships ending that give you a different feeling about it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I so relate to what you said about your daughter having a really nice bond with your recent husband, because that's my situation too. My younger daughter, especially because she was so young when I met my current partner. She was well, we were divorced when she was 4, and then I met my current partner when she was about 6.5. And
Okay.
they have such a strong connection and a strong bond. And I
Um,
always think to myself, even if we didn't end up last, we're not married, but even if we didn't last, I know that they would definitely keep a relationship going, which is just so
yeah.
nice. It's like that's what you want. Like, no,
Yeah,
you can't, there's no guarantees with any relationship. There's,
that's right.
literally no guarantees. And if you can create a relationship, I just think it's so good for both my daughters, and I'm sure you feel this way too. It's like for them to see what a healthy relationship looks like.
Yes.
I think it's
Yes.
just so important. And
That's
definitely
huge.
they did not
And
have that with me and their dad for sure. So yeah.
yes, that's huge. That is another thing that I'm grateful for too, that I had for her, for her to experience that. And that's a great point. I mean, just having setting that example, being
Mhm.
able to model a healthy relationship for our kids, but also understanding that it's really, really, really difficult to do that if you're not having a healthy relationship with yourself first.
Yes. Yeah.
Making sure that, again, like, you're pouring into yourself and learning, like, who are you, like, who are you, what do you want, what do you need, how do you meet your own needs, so that you're not relying on anyone else to do that for you or make you feel fulfilled or whole or enough or lovable or any of that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
once you know how to
Right.
do that for yourself, then you're going to attract an ideal partner who can also hold that kind of space for you, because even when you're in a relationship, your health and happiness is still your responsibility. It's not your
Yes.
partner, right? It's like two people who are whole coming together, but still doing that work individually to remain healthy, whole individuals.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
exactly.
Mhm.
That's so well said. And I think it's something that, I mean, I know I definitely grew up with that, mythical idea, fantasy idea that when I get to be an adult, I'm going to meet my perfect partner and we're going to live happily ever after. And that's going to make me happy. And
Yes.
I grew up with divorced parents and it was like a total shit show.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, I'm gonna like recreate the perfect family. And
Yes.
and that's gonna save me and it's gonna make me happy. And
Yes.
it really didn't take me, it took me until I got divorced really to realize, like, oh, wait, that is so not the way I should have been
Yeah,
approaching
that
any of
happens
this.
to a lot of us.
Oh,
Like, so many of
totally.
us make these decisions based off of these like subconscious toxic narratives that we were taught when we were
Yeah.
growing up. And maybe
Yeah.
that's just like because of our parents or just the examples we had around us of
Well,
what a relationship looked like.
I
And
blame rom-coms and I blame
yes,
Disney
Disney.
100%. I mean, Disney, man, it
Yes.
really fucked all of us
Yes,
as
I was just
women.
talking about that, talking about the Little Mermaid, about how it's like, okay, she had to give up like her voice, her identity, her entire support system, like just to go live in his world and be accepted
Oh
by him.
my God, it's
Yeah, that's not a good
unbelievable.
message. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know he wasn't saving her from anything, actually. She was great. All the other ones, like, they needed saving. They needed the kiss or the
Yeah,
whatever it was to
yeah,
be saved. And I believed all of that. I really did.
yes,
It
yeah.
was like
We all did.
hardwired. Yeah.
Yes. And so I
Um,
think that's, then that's part of the work too, is self-forgiveness, right? Like we do
yeah.
the best we can with what we know at the time. And so many of us make these choices and then we learn and we grow and we kind of question those beliefs and we figure out, oh, actually that is not what I believe anymore, or that's not working for me, or that's not what I want anymore. And that's okay, right? And it's
Yeah.
okay to get divorced. It's okay to break up. It's okay to grow and evolve and move on. But then understanding why you made those choices to begin with, and then giving yourself grace, like forgiving
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
for making those choices based on what you believed at the time or knew at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've learned so much.
I know,
Very
right?
wise.
I it's like I learned a lot of things the hard way. That's what I try. That's what I try to like teach clients is like, hey, listen, I've got a whole like, a library of information for you at this point
Yeah,
that I like to
seriously.
share. But yeah, I mean, and I have a couple like don'ts for you, like off the top of my head, just because if you are dating after divorce, and we kind of touched on this, is don't date to numb the loneliness. This is something
Hmm.
that's really common, and this is one of the biggest mistakes I see my clients make is they just rush into a relationship too soon, right? Like, because if you're dating because just the quiet feels unbearable,
Hmm.
that's your sign to pause, because loneliness is not a problem to solve with a person.
Yeah.
Like dating from this place leads to settling, rushing intimacy, ignoring red flags just because you don't want to be alone. And like I already said, I made that mistake, many times. So just
Hmm.
pause. If you have to kind of check yourself and really understand, well, what is my intention? Why do I feel like I want to date again? What really is it that I
Hmm.
feel like I need? And then you want to be careful to not confuse chemistry with compatibility, because
Yeah.
this comes up a lot too. Strong chemistry can actually feel familiar because it just mirrors old patterns, right? Like
Hmm.
often we find ourselves in these toxic relationships because it's familiar, and sometimes it just subconsciously familiar, or your nervous system feels familiar. You're not even aware of really what's going on. But if you're used to kind of a lot of emotional highs and lows, you're more likely to confuse that as chemistry. So real compatibility shows up in like consistency, emotional safety, communication, shared values, things like that, not just butterflies, right?
Yeah.
Like that's something to
Right.
pay attention to.
Right. Right.
And then
Yes. Yep.
and not ignoring your standards because someone is nice. That's something that's like baseline, right? Like you're allowed to want emotional maturity and accountability and effort and alignment. Like being divorced doesn't mean your standards should shrink. It means they should be clearer. Because a lot of
Yeah.
us feel like we
Yeah.
almost have to apologize for our divorce, or like we're embarrassed or ashamed of it. And it's like, no, if anything, you're wiser, you're
Yeah.
stronger, you're
Yeah.
more resilient, you have more information now. You should be pickier. You should have
Yeah.
higher standards and really
Yeah.
know what those deal breakers are.
If you've been telling yourself you just need to get back into working out, but cannot figure out where an hour free time is supposed to magically come from, this is for you. You need to listen. My friend Carly Fouth, founder of Fit Fun Carly and the Fit and Fitness Method, and also a guest on this podcast, created something called the 15-Minute Club. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a 6-week program built around short, effective workouts and the mindset that helps you build strength, feel better in your body, and stay consistent without rearranging your entire life. This isn't about crushing yourself at the gym. It's about smart movement, encouragement, and a plan that actually fits into real schedules. Whether you're juggling work, family, recovery, or just feeling stuck, you get live coaching, on-demand workouts, and a supportive community to keep you going. All designed around that idea that 15 minutes truly matters. The next session starts April 6th, and to join the waitlist, head to www.fitfuncarly.com/the15minute-club, and early birds receive $20 off. So check it out. What are your thoughts on asking for a friend here?
Sure.
You know what I mean? No. When I first got separated, my divorce was such a nightmare that I did actually date to kind of, I was very lonely. I had 50-50 custody. I was so not used to not being with my kids. And I definitely did date, not because I was actually not looking for a partner right away, but I dated just to kind of forget about my actual life. Like I almost purposely dated people that were so wrong for me that I knew it would never lead to anything. And I was, I definitely like slept with people too soon. I did all the things, like I just was having fun, or so I told myself, but it was definitely to take myself out of my situation for even just a night. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What would you say to a client if they were doing that? If you felt like they were being safe about it and not being crazy, but it was just a coping mechanism? I'm just curious because I've been asked this actually myself from clients too, and I'm always like, well, that's what I did, but I don't know if that's right, actually. I
think this is kind of like a twofold question. Like, first of all, you have to just be honest with yourself with the kind of person you are. So like me, like I fall in love with everybody. So I know that if I'm not ready for a relationship, I shouldn't be out there like meeting people and like quote unquote having fun, because that's just not how it's going to pan out. I know that like I really look to like have relationships with people. So that wouldn't work for me. If you're someone who you want to just kind of get, wave your freak flag and like go do your thing because now you're free and you can, explore and experiment and discover. I really don't think there's anything wrong with that if you're being honest with yourself about it.
Yeah.
At the same time, your healing is still important. And if you're just dating to numb out or like distract yourself from what's really going on, it's kind of like throwing a band-aid on a bullet hole. Like
100%.
it might help you feel better, while you're doing it, but you're not really fixing anything or changing anything. And so it's so important. And there's no magic formula. Like a question I get all the time is, well, like, how long do I have to wait until I date? Right? Like how do I know it's time? And it's like, if I had the answer to that, I'd be a bazillionaire because like everyone wants it. There's no magic formula. Everyone's different. Everyone's marriage is different. Everyone's divorce is different. Like, but I feel like a good rule of thumb is like, if you can at least give yourself like a year of just focusing on you, and I'm not saying you're not allowed to date, but like take like a year to just go hard on yourself. Like a relationship shouldn't be a priority. You should be the priority. So it's like, who are you? What do you want? What do you need? What do you not want to sacrifice anymore? What boundaries do you know you want to be setting moving forward, right? Like, what are your standards? What are your deal breakers? What fulfills you? Like, what are you doing? Do you have creative outlets and hobbies? Are you nurturing relationships with friends? Like, getting yourself to a place where you feel whole and happy and fulfilled and enough and lovable and financially stable on your own. And if you do that, if you take the time to do that, it might not take 12 months. Maybe you could do it in 6 months. Maybe it takes 18 months. But if you can get yourself to that place, that is like the secret sauce to choosing healthier partners, right? More aligned partners, because you don't need them.
Yeah.
You're not trying to fill a void. You're just looking to add value to your already full life.
That's such good advice. I mean, especially honestly, I feel like people don't talk enough about of course, everyone says like, oh, you should be ready. You should work on yourself. You should, make sure you've gone to therapy and you know what whatever your patterns are, all of that. But no one really talks about the financial piece, I mean, that
It's
you should
huge.
really be financially stable. before
That
you.
is why I rushed into that marriage number two, honestly, Alyssa, because after divorce number one, I was a single mom. I was a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I had no money to my name. And so
Mhm.
after that divorce, I was really struggling. And then when I started dating this guy, and he seemed like he was a nice guy, and he we kind of got into this situation where he was going to move in to help me financially. That's really what
Yeah,
it was. Is like
right.
I was in survival mode, and I was making decisions from that place.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you're in that place where you got yourself covered financially, you feel steady and stable, you're a lot more likely to choose partners for different reasons, because you're not in that survival mode where you're just kind of trying to stay afloat and doing things that you feel like would help you survive.
yeah, yeah, exactly. 100%. And I feel like that's so now the messaging to younger women, like younger adult women, is that, make sure you have your own career, make sure you have your own thing going on. Do not, you don't need a man at all for anything other than to
Yes.
just be your equal partner. And I think
Yes,
that's so
because also
amazing.
there's so many women that stay stuck in marriages and relationships because they can't afford to leave, or that's how they feel, right? They get trapped financially. That's so common. So, that's something that you want to make sure that you're positioning yourself to really never get into put in that corner again.
Yeah, yeah. And I just think that it's so important that that messaging is loud and clear to the younger generations because it definitely wasn't in my generation. I think you're younger than me, but it was definitely not the messaging I got
No,
at all.
marriage was just the goal. You grow
Yeah,
up, you get a job, you get married, you have a family. Like
yeah,
that was
yeah.
the plan for everybody. Yeah.
I know. And and even as recent as, my kids are now 15 and 19, and as recent as when I had them, it was still the ultimate goal was to be able to stay home full time with them. Like that was still the messaging too, I feel like from
Yeah.
society. I still worked, but thank God, I mean, I'm so grateful now that I didn't stop working, but it was definitely the messaging was, I want my husband to go out and make the money so that I can stay home and with our kids. And it's like, oh my God. I mean, even now I just think back to that and I'm like, who was that person? I
Yeah.
don't even know who that was anymore. Because I am,
Yeah.
yeah, I
It's
mean, my
common.
messaging to my daughters now is make sure you have your own money, make sure you have your own career path, make sure you
Yeah.
have, yeah, you do not want to be reliant on a man, no matter how amazing he is or how amazing your relationship is, your marriage, you still just want to have that autonomy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. What would be, do you feel like is your biggest, how old is your daughter now?
14.
Okay, so similar ages, yeah. So what do you feel like is your biggest messaging to her, whether it's about relationships or dating or that type of thing?
Oh man, I mean that's so tough, and I think it changes all the time. But I think just I
Yeah.
am always really trying to teach her just how to be a strong, independent young woman, to never settle, to be true to herself, to really show up authentically and not spend too much energy worrying about what other people think or say, because
Yeah.
she's, as a 14-year-old, she's a freshman in high school, and this is where shit gets tough, right? Like this is
Mhm.
where you're going through a lot of changes, and
Mhm.
your peers are doing things, and you want to fit in, and so I think I'm really just trying to drive the message of be true to yourself,
Yeah.
really, right now, and just showing her by living my life what's possible. Yes, relationships don't work out sometimes, but I'm still standing, and I'm stronger than ever, and I keep growing and evolving and learning and healing, and I'm a strong independent woman, and I'm so grateful that I had the courage to leave those marriages, because
Mhm.
now she gets the best version of me, right? Like she gets the
Mhm.
version of me who runs her own business and owns her own house, and is living a single life, and not really I don't care if it's I'm not worried about that. Like
Yeah.
she that's who she gets to see. And so
Yeah.
I'm so happy that she gets this version of me, because
Right.
the version of me that she was getting in that first marriage and even that second marriage was not good. I mean, when I look back, I mean, it was terrible. I was depressed and I was on anxiety medicine and I was fighting with them all. You know, we were always in arguments, and it just was such a toxic, not only just not a great relationship to model her, but like I wasn't in a good place mentally and emotionally. And even if I tried really hard and pretended that things were fine, they know, they
They know.
sense it, they see
They
what's
know.
going on, they pick
Yeah.
things up. And
Yeah.
so sometimes it's like you got to do the hard thing for your kids. You know, you hear this narrative of like stay for the kids and make it work for the kids, and that is
Oh,
just not my perspective at all.
same.
Yeah,
I think that is a crock of shit.
yeah. I mean, it's
I really do.
there's
Yeah.
so much to be said about, you know, just doing the hard thing so that you can be in a healthy, more grounded, happy place. And
Yes.
then that's the version of their mom that they get.
Right, right. No, I mean, otherwise, I have friends that have stayed in marriages that they are miserable in,
Yeah.
and it's just so sad, and they do it because of their kids, and I just, I've tried to say this in a nicest way, kind of not directly, but indirectly, your kids are happy if you're happy, and
Yes.
if that's the relationship example they have, that's what they're all. I don't understand why people don't know that either. That's the relationship they're going to seek out,
That's right.
and just by nature, not on,
Yes.
not
Yes. Like we talked
subconsciously.
about, like subconscious things. Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's actually research behind this. I mean, there's like science now behind this that shows that the health and happiness of the mother directly correlates with the health and happiness and well-being of their children.
right,
So it's
right.
like you have to be priority number one so that your kids have a
Yeah.
better chance.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's something that comes up a lot, probably with your clients too, where I have a lot of clients that either come to me after they've been divorced for, I mean, I've had people come to me after a decade saying, well, I was just waiting until my child was out of the
Yeah.
house, or, or I hear of people saying, well, I'm just not sure because I feel, or they're keeping it a big secret from their kids that they're dating. And I'm like, my message is, again, your kids are happy if they see you happy. They don't
Yes.
care if you're dating or not. They don't care. I mean, they really don't. As long as you're presenting it in a healthy way and you're not, stressed out or miserable or anxious or whatever is, which of course dating can cause all those things sometimes. But as long as they're not seeing that and they're just seeing you enjoy yourself and having plans. And I just feel like, again, I can't say it enough. Like if your kids see you happy, they don't care that you're dating. They,
Yeah.
Even if they have the best relationship in the world with their other parent,
Yeah.
it doesn't, yeah, they just want to see you both happy. They just want to see both parents happy.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a client actually recently was telling me that this guy she was dating had teenage girls and they were his sole custody. And he just could never get together because he couldn't tell them that he was dating. So they were having these like midday lunch dates and like, it was just kind of all, at first she was like, is he married? What's going on?
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
she did get to the bottom of it. It really was that he just did not want to tell them that he was dating. And it was not a recent separation or anything either, or divorce. And I said, that is just, that's definitely, well, either it's somebody using their children as an excuse to not commit to anybody, or it
Yeah.
really is just fear. And I think that fear is just unwarranted. I think, again,
Yeah.
can't repeat it enough, but they'd be happy if he was happy. So anyway.
Right. Right. Yeah. And sometimes, your kids are kind of going through their own thing too. Obviously, depending on how old they are, they're going to process it in their own way and on their own timeline. And I certainly don't think that you need to put your own life on hold just because they have a preference on, who you're dating. I mean, you're still a grown up and you still get to make your own choices. And
Yes.
your job
Yeah.
is just to help them through it, right? Like
Right.
be there to talk about it and answer questions and support them. I mean, that's the other thing, adversity is inevitable. Like, everyone tries so hard to protect their kids from everything, but it's like our jobs we're supposed to raise strong, independent humans, right? You
Resilient
can't do
humans.
that. Yes, resilient humans. You can't do
Yeah,
that by like trying to like protect them from
from
everything.
everything.
Adversity is inevitable. Life is going to kick them in the ass like it does to everyone on this planet. So
I
your job
know.
is like giving them the tools and the support to navigate through it. How do you help them through it? It's not helping them avoid it.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. I know we talked a lot about children and
Yeah.
divorce, but I think it's so important. I really do. I feel like, I think that even with adult children, I think that because a
Hmm.
lot of my clients are, middle age or older, and they have adult children, and I think even then sometimes people are not wanting to share that, and it's like I again. But yeah, well, this has all been so helpful. I love all of your advice. You're very, very wise.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So just one last question. So
Mhm.
you're currently on hiatus from dating, is that correct?
Yes.
So
Hmm.
is that, do you mind if I get into that for a second?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So is that because you just feel like you're still just not ready, or you feel like you're just fine being by yourself, or you just don't have the energy to put into that right now, or what?
I'm fine being by myself. I'm not closed off to the idea at all. I think if I met someone or, someone was brought into my life, I'm certainly open to it. I'm just not seeking it out
Yeah,
currently. I'm not
right.
on dating apps. I'm not like looking to start a relationship. I'm just happy in all the things that I'm,
Yeah.
juggling in my life. And, if someone were to come along, then I would be open to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you're in a place now where do you feel like you still are in that? I guess let me reframe this. Do you feel like that you could date without getting attached right away, like casually, like we were talking about earlier? Or do you feel like you still feel like if you date, it would be something more serious?
I think personally, if I were to date someone, it would be with the intention of it leading to a relationship. I'm not somebody who'd be interested in dating just for the experience of just dating. That makes sense, right?
Yes, yeah,
Like,
that
yeah,
totally
I
makes
think I
sense.
think either I'm single and just doing my thing, or then I'm kind of in a relationship. And so if
Yeah,
I were
yeah,
to be open to actually dating someone and like spending time with them and investing in the relationship and just getting to know them, in my mind, it's because the goal, what we would be leading to creating some kind of partnership at some
right,
point.
right, right. Yeah, that's great. That's so great. And yeah, I think that's really good for people to hear too. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all that. That was really,
Yes.
yeah, so helpful.
Thanks for having me. I love to just give any of information that I can to just help someone else who's maybe a couple steps behind, or are in that position where they're thinking of divorce, or they just got divorced, or they're thinking of dating. Right? There's so much stuff that we can kind of hand to them and go, well, don't do this, try this instead.
Right, right. Exactly, exactly. Briefly tell us about your membership program and what that's called,
Yes.
the next chapter.
Yes, the next chapter,
Um,
which we had you as a guest, so it was
yes.
amazing. So,
Yeah.
the next chapter is a private community for women that I run with my partner Samantha Boss, who's also a divorce coach, and together we have created this massive library of resources for moms who are going through high conflict divorce and co-parenting, everything from trial and mediation prep and how to communicate with your attorney to how to navigate high conflict co-parenting or divorcing a narcissist, and how to support your kids, how to heal from trauma, how to invest in yourself and rebuild your confidence. We have so many videos, like workshop replays in there for them, and then we also do Q&A sessions as well. So it's an amazing hub for
Yeah.
women to go to get all of the tools and resources and support they need
Right.
to navigate divorce and
And
co-parenting.
and then they can jump on live Q&As with you. Is that right?
Yes, we have live Q&As,
Amazing.
several a month, where they can get on a Zoom, and it's myself and Samantha. So you get two coaches and you get to ask
Yeah,
us your, more personalized questions.
that's
And
great.
so yeah, we've been doing that for a couple years now, and it's really been, it's really what we wish we had when we were going through a
I was
divorce.
just gonna say that. I
Yeah.
so wish that I had something like that when I was, yeah, when I was going through through my divorce. I mean, when I was going through mine, which is now 11 years ago, I mean, I didn't even really think about a divorce coach. But in hindsight, I really
Yes.
wish I had. I think it
Yes.
wasn't as well known at the time. It's definitely now more common. But anyway, that would have been so helpful to have a community like that you guys.
Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah,
divorce is isolating, right? Like usually when you're
so
going through
isolating.
it, you don't have someone close to you who's like going through it at the same time. You're usually doing it alone. And even
Yeah,
if you do have someone close to you that have experienced a divorce, their divorce could be extremely
completely
different from
different.
your
I
from
know.
your
I know.
scenario. So
Yeah,
even just connecting
yeah.
with other women who like really get it, who like really
Yes.
understand what you're
Yeah.
talking about and what you're going through, that in and of itself is life-changing.
Well, and also like a high conflict divorce versus just a regular divorce is
So
very
different.
different.
Very unique.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
So
that's
yeah,
right.
that's great. Okay, so they can find the next chapter through your
Yes.
website or
Yes. So
okay.
you can find me. So I'm all over social media: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. My handle is at Mindfully Ready. Or you can
Hmm.
also go to my website, which is mindfullyready.com, and you can learn more about the next chapter membership there.
Great. Amazing. And then they can also work with you one-on-one. Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do offer
Yeah.
coaching sessions as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Amazing. Thanks again, Leah. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for listening to the Dating Lab. If today's episode gave you something to think about, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. And if you want more dating guidance, you can find me on Instagram or at stylemyprofile.nyc.com. Until next time, remember, dating is a process, not a verdict. You're doing better than you think.